Nicole Scott here from Mobile Geeks, and today I'm going to be going hands-on with HTC's new flagship, the HTC 10. So here we have it, HTC's new flagship device. I have to admit, I quite like the design. Initially, I wasn't so keen on these chamfered edges, but to be honest, in the black it looks really good. I've gone hands-on with the silver as well, but the black actually looks really, really nice. And the thing is, when you have it in your hand, it's very nice, it's very grippable, and it actually feels pretty comfortable. But if you go and you hold the A9 immediately afterwards, this doesn't feel quite as refined and polished. So it's actually a very interesting design choice, especially because we still have this all-metal design that feels very substantial and very very high-end and luxury, and like a tank, like exactly what you expect from an HTC flagship. Now, going around the system, we'll just take a quick look. We have a 5.2-inch display. It's Quad HD. We have a great texturized button on the side here for the power volume rocker. This is the nano SIM card slot. Up at the top, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I'll get into because there's a lot of really good audio details on this phone in terms of high resolution. Here we have a 12 megapixel camera with a two-tone flash, laser autofocus, and optical image stabilization. We also have an f-stop of 1.8, so we should be seeing some pretty decent low-light performance on here. On the other side, we've got a slot for your micro SD card. Now, one thing you'll notice immediately is that we don't have two front-facing speakers. So we have a speaker up here at the top, alongside a 5 megapixel front-facing camera that also has OIS. And then on the bottom, instead of another speaker, we have a fingerprint sensor and a home button. Now, on the bottom, we have the other boom sound speaker, and then we've got a USB Type-C. Now, we do have Quick Charge 3.0 on this USB Type-C port, which means that you're going to get about 50% in 30 minutes, and you have a 3000 milliampere battery. Now, other specifications: Snapdragon 820 processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes or 64 onboard storage. Like I mentioned, we do have a micro SD card slot. So the whole device, it feels pretty hefty. I mean, 161 grams, and then if you look at the thickness, we're at 9 millimeters. So it is a fairly big device, and to be honest, I do kind of wish that the bezels were a little bit thinner. It's not as bad as, say, on the M9. So the question on everyone's mind is, how is the camera? There's been changes to the UI, so we're actually going to talk about that first. We have the black bars here, so it defaults to 4:3, which is the maximum resolution, so 12. You can change that over to like a 16:9, but it does go down to 9 megapixel. Now you'll see that there's actually groupings. So we've got photos, so panorama and pro mode. Then we've got video, hyperlapse, everything to do with video. And then we've got selfie photos and video here. Now let's just take a quick look at pro mode, because you can still shoot raw, which is quite nice. Now when you go into here, you'll notice that we have another subfolder. So basically, every time you're in here, it actually changes. So you can actually switch to JPEG or RAW. So let's take a look at this. White balance, you can do auto, bring that down. ISO, let's see. ISO only goes down to 100. Then we've got only 2 seconds, which is actually not that much considering that some other manufacturers are doing up to 30. And then we have focus here on the side, so we can go all the way to macro or choose to build that out. So Pro Mode does have some half-decent options. I do wish that we had an ISO 50 and a shutter speed of, say, 30 seconds. But heading into this, it's actually pretty interesting. So we'll take a quick photo, Pro Mode. Let's just take a quick, actually let's not do hyperlapse. Yeah, okay, let's do hyperlapse. So let's just say we're taking a hyperlapse. Okay, save that out. Head on over here. Let's just take a regular photo. So let's just see how fast that is. So laser focus is blocked. That's right here. So if you cover that up, it won't be able to focus as quickly. So now let's just take that out. Right, it seems to be fairly good. Now let's just take a quick look at this. Good amount of detail. Good sharpness on the sides there. So like overall, like the camera so far looks pretty good. I like these new groupings on the side and selfie and all of this jazz. Now, one interesting thing is that you'll notice that there's no gallery when you kind of start looking around. So HTC has decided to go with Google Photos. But what's kind of interesting is that they've done some changes to it. So it's not just standard Google Photos. So if you know anything about Google Photos, you don't actually have the ability to access RAW. So you'll see here that was the hyperlapse that I took. There's RAW, there's the video. So there's tiny icons that aren't standard for Google Photos. That there are actually some little tweaks that HTC has done to that. So you can, actually here's a bunch of photos from other devices that I've backed up to the cloud. So I can, if you don't know Google Photos, you can definitely see a lot of stuffs in album as well. Now, one interesting thing is if you're looking for your stuff, device folders is where you'll actually also find screenshots or any of your messages from media like WhatsApp or anything like that. So if you happen to be looking, that's where it appears. So let's just take a quick look at the app. So we have a themer, so you can change things out a little bit. We have preloads of Facebook Messenger and Instagram. There's the camera, you got News Republic, voice recorder. We've got some tools. So there's actually Boost Plus, which actually helps you manage your apps. So you have your apps, activities. This will actually point out if there's any like spammy apps or irregular apps. It's nice to kind of go into here to see what your apps are doing. We have a game booster, which is saves you battery life when you're gaming. And of course we have Smart Boost, which kind of optimizes the performance of the handset by clearing out the memory. So Ice View. This is for the case. So we have this case that we're just going to take a quick look at. I quite like this because of this moment. Let's put this in. Look at that. That is a dope screen cast there. Something else that I noticed is still there, so you can personalize your home screen, so let's add a widget. I was pretty happy to see that you still had Sense Home here. I really liked this from the last time that they launched this on the M9 now. It's interesting that it takes like 3 or 4 weeks for this to actually become intelligent and show you the apps that you need. I don't think people really got that it's not going to immediately show the appropriate apps for home, away, out, every single, like when you first start using it. But what's interesting is that Samsung on the Edge has actually copied this. So so when you swipe in from the Edge, it'll actually show you the exact same thing that HTC did here. So this is actually a little gem that Samsung actually poached from HTC. Now, one thing that I definitely have to mention is HTC's boom sound. So we've got the different modes. But what's interesting is that they've increased the quality not by adding extra chips, but by working directly with a Qualcomm to remove hardware inside the phone and to reduce the path, like where things could actually go wrong on the audio output. So we have hi-fi, high-res audio, so it's high-res audio certified, and it also comes with these high-res audio speakers or earphones. So they've actually done a lot of work to kind of, maintain their high emphasis on audio technology. I haven't personally checked these out yet because I've just gotten them, and this is just a hands-on. We're going to have to wait for the full review to figure out if these are any good. So I'm excited about it because in the briefing, they really spent a lot of time talking about how it, like, not just adding chips in, but actually, like, configuring the hardware on the phone to really create a moment where the audio can be as clean as possible and you can get the best sound quality. So that was just a quick hands-on with the HTC 10. If you want to know if you should be picking it up, the full review will be going out on April 14th.